Hello, UT class of 2024. Welcome to your sophomore year registration process. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mrs. Demery, and I am one of the counselors here at UT. What I'm going to do today is just kind of run through the registration process with you and kind of help you fill out your blue registration forms for next year. Okay, so to start off with, I'm just going to run through some important information to know. Number one, please fill out your registration form in pencil. Okay, so this is kind of important because when we meet with you guys to go over your classes, we do tend to make a lot of changes. So it's just super helpful if it's in pencil rather than pen. Okay, so please fill it out in pencil. Next, you will have approximately 1 week to get your schedules done once you have received your registration form. Okay, in that time, we highly suggest that you take it home and talk to your parents about the classes that you're wanting to take for next year. We say that because regardless of whether you talk to them or not, they are going to receive a copy of those classes in April in the mail. Okay, once they receive the copy of those classes, they have until the end of the semester or the end of the year, which is roughly May, to make any changes that they want. Okay, so if you sign up for drawing and ceramics, but they want you to take Spanish 2, if they call me, I'm going to make that change, which is why we highly suggest that you talk to your parents to begin with, okay? So that it's just easier for everybody if you do. When we come back in August, you will have 10 days to make a request to change a class. So requests can be made, but they aren't going to be promised, okay? So number one, they must be approved by administration. And number two, we look at class sizes. So if you're in a class that only has 15 kids, but you want to change to a class that has 30 kids, we're probably not going to make that change, okay? So we will take class sizes into consideration. After 10 days, there will be absolutely no changes allowed, okay? And even within the first 10 days, some changes won't even be considered. So for example, if you are in the critical thinking program, you have to stay in the critical thinking program, okay, which is our world studies, which is our accelerated program. So, and I will talk more about the accelerated program later on in this presentation. Lastly, makeup classes. So if you failed a class from your freshman year, if you failed a required class, then it has to be made up. So for example, if you failed English this year, then you will have to make up that English credit at a later date, which is usually next year. And how that works is we usually take out an elective class to put in that makeup class. So just know that if you failed a required class, then we do take out kind of the fun elective classes and replace it with the required class that you need to make up, okay? All right, next up, course planning guide. You guys all received a course planning guide when you were 8th graders as incoming freshmen. We tell you to keep it, but a lot of you probably don't keep it. But in case you did, I'm just going to kind of run through really quick why it's so important. The course planning guide has all of the information about every class that you could possibly need. Okay, it has the course descriptions of every class, which we highly suggest that you read about before you pick these classes. Okay, it has great information in the front of the book. So it has, graduation requirements, how many, credits you need to graduate, what classes you need to take, in the areas of English, math, science, what required classes. It has information about your counselors. So if you don't know who your counselor is, then it has our name, our alphabet that we have, and our phone numbers in case you need to get a hold of us. There's just a ton of information in this book, okay? The sections in the book are all alphabetical. So if you're looking for classes, they're all in there alphabetical. Here's kind of the description of, or an example of the fine arts department, okay? So it shows you the course number, the name of the course, the length of the course, so whether it's a full year, a semester, or a quarter, and what grades you have to be in order to take it, okay? So this is just a helpful guide to help you pick the classes and to learn about the classes a little bit when you're making those selections, okay? Next up, we're going to kind of go through your classes that you have to take for sophomore year. So your required classes and your electives. Sophomore year is your most loaded down year with your required classes, okay? You have to take math, science, English, history, and PE. And then that leaves 2 open periods for electives. So let's start with math. So as sophomores, you will need to take at least 3 years of math credit in order to graduate, okay? As sophomores, you will stay in the level that you are in now, okay? So if you are currently taking General Algebra 1 right now, then you will take General Geometry. If you're taking College Prep Algebra 1 as a freshman, then you will take College Prep Geometry as a sophomore. If you are in Accelerated Algebra 2 as a freshman right now, you will take Accelerated Geometry for next year. Okay, science. You need 2 years of science credit in order to graduate. You will sign up for the level of class that you are in now. So our levels for sophomore year are the general level, you'll take physical science, college prep will be chemistry, and accelerated will also be chemistry. Now, English, you need 4 years of English to graduate. As sophomores, this is where it gets a little tricky for our accelerated kids. So if you're in general, you will stay in general English 2. If you are college prep, you will do college prep English 2. Okay. Our world studies is our English and history program that is accelerated. Now, that you will have to be invited into the class. Okay. So for purposes of registration, you will still sign up for college prep English 2 because that's what you're in right now. Now, the counselors will change you into world studies if you get into that program at a later date. So for right now, you sign up for college prep English 2, okay? All right, history. You need 2.5 years of history credit. You did not, in order to graduate, you did not have to take any as a freshman. So as a sophomore, you will take world history, and then you'll have U.S. history as a junior and government as a senior. Now, for for world history, if you were in general English, because our English and our history kind of go together. So if you were in general English, then you will sign up for general world history. If you were in CP English freshman year, then you will sign up for CP World History as a sophomore. World Studies is also our accelerated history, but just like English, you will sign up for CP World History, and the counselors will change you at a later date if you get into the World Studies program. Okay. Moving right on to PE. PE can get a little bit tricky, so kind of bear with me. Okay, so you need 4 years of PE. As a freshman, you probably qualify. So you have PE, you have your health credit, and you have driver's ed. Okay, if you were a freshman and took driver's ed, then as a sophomore, you will take health. If you took health as a freshman this year, then you will take PE as a sophomore next year, okay? And I will show you that more when I go through the registration form with you, okay? Athletic PE. Typically, our juniors and seniors do athletic PE. Now, if you are in athletic PE as a freshman, it's probably because you were requested to be in it by a coach. It's the same thing for sophomore year. If you want to do athletic PE, then a coach has to request that you take that class. And it's super easy. They just have to email a counselor, okay? So if you want to do athletic PE because you're in a sport, then your coach has to email the counselor and request that you be in it. All right, electives for next year. As a sophomore, you have 2 periods of electives that you can take. You can take 2 all year long classes, or you can take 4 semester classes. Within that, if you are somebody that wants to take a study hall, because you know that you're going to need time throughout the day to do your homework, you can take a study hall every year and still have enough credits to graduate, okay? Even though study hall does not count for credit. So just know that if you sign up, but you pass everything, you're still good on credits, okay? Now, once you start, if you are failing some classes, then your counselor will probably tell you you can't take study hall because you have to make up some classes, okay? Now, foreign language, I do want to touch on that really quick because a lot of students think that they need to take foreign language in order to graduate. However, you do not. But if you're planning on going to college, then we do highly suggest that you take 2 years of a foreign language because a lot of colleges and universities require 2 years as an entrance requirement. Okay, so if you took French 1 or Spanish 1 last year and did okay in it, then we highly suggest that you take, as a sophomore, that you take Spanish 2 or French 2. Okay, and get your 2 full years. Next up is your registration form. So you probably have, or your teachers will be handing out your registration form to you here pretty soon. Okay, as sophomores, your registration form is blue. Okay, this is an example of what it will look like, but it's blue. Here's kind of a shrunk down version of the blue form. What I'm going to do right now is kind of just run through and give you some examples of how to fill this out, okay? So try to follow along. Now, number 1, put your last and first name and then your middle initial, okay? Some kids do have the same first and last name, so that's why we always ask for the middle initial. Date of birth is the day you were born. Do not put today's birth or today's date, okay? It has to be your birthday. We use this to place you into driver's ed, so it's very crucial that you put down the correct birthday. Next section is just a blank close-up of what the course request is going to look like. Okay, notice that it already has English, math, history, science, PE filled for you and some electives. What I'm going to do is now put up a couple examples with it filled out, okay? So just kind of follow along. All right, the first example is going to be an example of the general level form. So if you are a student that is in general level classes, this is what you will put on your form. Okay, English, you will take English 2. The general level course number is 122. Math will be geometry. You'll put 619 in both sides. Because it's an all year long class, you're filling it out on semester 1 and semester 2. World history will be general because your English is general. So you will put 907. Science is physical science, 811 on both sides because it's an all-year class. PE is where it gets a little tricky. So if you took health as a freshman, then you will take driver's ed as a sophomore. So you need to put 700 for the section number on one side or the other. On the other side, along with driver's ed, you will put 711, which is the PE number. If you need to take health, for example, if you took driver's ed this year as a freshman, then you will take health next year. On one side or the other, you need to put 709. And then on the other side, you'll put 711 for PE. Again, if you are going to take athletic PE, then you will put 714. But again, your coach has to request it if you're not already currently taking it as a freshman. Next up are just a couple examples of some electives. So All About Money is a semester class. So the section number is 001. So you're only going to put it on one side because it's a semester class. Same with Foods 1. Okay, 411. Down here, you guys don't have to worry about this X elective, okay? Pretend that's not even on your sheet, because as freshmen, you guys are no longer going to have class rank, so this doesn't come into play anymore. So you don't have to worry about your X class. If you're going to take a study hall, you will put it on line 7 though, because this is where your study hall will go. Or if you're not going to take a study hall, then you'll put either an all year long class in here, or you'll put 2 more semester classes. Study hall can be labeled with SHLA or SHLB. And you can take study hall only one semester if you want, or you can take it both semesters. It's up to you. All right, that was the general level. Now let's go on and do the CP and accelerated level example. Okay, so up here for English, again, both CP and accelerated kids are going to put CP 121 on both sides. If you are CP math right now, you're going to be CP geometry next year. So you're going to put 620 on both sides. If you're accelerated math right now, you'll take accelerated geometry and put 621 on both sides. World history is CP 905. If you are CP chemist or CP biology right now, you'll be CP chemistry next year. So you'll put 828. And if you're an accelerated, then you will take accelerated chem next year and put 826. Same thing with PE, health, driver's ed, and athletic PE. If you took health last year, you'll take driver's ed this year, so you'll put it on one side. If you took driver's ed this year, then you'll take health next year, and you'll put that on one side. And then your PE is 711, and will go on the other side. This is an example of an all-year elective. So French 2 is 302, and the student put it on both sides because it's an all-year class. And then they chose to take ceramics, which is a semester, 203, and a study hall for a semester, which is SHLB. Okay, so you can kind of choose if you want one study hall or 2, it's up to you. Or you don't have to take a study hall at all. All right, so that is the example of the accelerated and the CP. Last but not least on this form is at the bottom, okay? At the bottom, you will see career choices and expected educational path. Please try and fill this out because this helps your counselor, help you figure out what classes that you guys need to be in for the next couple of years, okay? So for example, if you want to be a nurse, but aren't taking, extra science classes, or you're not signing up for our ECHO program your junior year, then we know that we need to have that conversation with you to tell you, hey, you need to be taking these classes if this is what you want to do. Okay, so this just kind of helps us steer you in the right direction. And then at the very bottom, student signature. So you need to sign it, date it, and then we would like a parent signature, but we will accept it without. But again, just know that your parents will get a copy of your classes anyways. So it's just better if you show it to them right from the very get-go. Okay. All right. Last is in conclusion. Make sure you use a pencil. Write out the name of the course and the course number when you're filling out your registration form. This is super important, you guys, because if you write out the name of the class, but you write down the wrong course number, we'll change it for you. Okay. But if you do not write the name of the class and you write the wrong course number, then you're stuck in that class. Okay. So this is super important. Just make sure you're writing out the right name and putting the number. Do both. And then X class, just ignore that. That doesn't pertain to you guys. And then parent signature. Again, just make sure you take it home and you talk to them about it, okay? So that they know what you're signing up for and that everybody's on the same page. Other than that, if you have any questions within the next, few weeks of registration, please come in and see your counselor, okay? We really want to make sure that you pick the classes that you want. So if you have any questions about classes, please come in and see us. All right. Other than that, have a great day and thanks for watching this presentation.